Hello, everybody. My name is Ana Rezende, and in this podcast, I will share my transformational journey to become a health coach. In each episode, I will address a different subject that impacts our health, whether physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. Because I've learned that being healthy means being in balance. If you would like to make amazing discoveries, improve your health, get inspired, and yet find sustainable ways to live and help the planet, tune in. You are in the right place. I'm your host, Ana Rezende, and Good is What Makes You Feel Well is Mama Terra's podcast.
Toma banho de cachoeira, abraço uma pessoa amiga, corre na chuva, escala a montanha, contempla a vista, transcende, levita.
This episode is a deep dive into the power of holistic health, community connection, and what it truly means to build a culture of wellness from the ground up. I'm joined by someone who embodies all of that and more, Nicole Fey, founder of the East Tennessee Wellness Directory. Nicole's journey began with her own exploration of nutrition, spiritual growth, and alternative healing. A path that revealed her calling to help others heal, not just individually, but collectively. Through the East Tennessee Wellness Directory, she's creating a unified ecosystem where holistic practitioners are uplifted, collaboration replaces competition, and individuals and families can easily find trusted natural and alternative health resources. With more than 25 years of experience in wellness, sustainability, leadership, and education, Nicole brings a depth of wisdom and perspective that informs everything she does. Her extensive training from holistic health coaching and yoga to building biology, feng shui, and Reiki reflects her belief that healing is multidimensional and deeply interconnected. Nicole envisions the East Tennessee Wellness Directory not just as a resource, but as a movement, a catalyst for awakening and empowerment, inviting each one of us to trust our intuition, embrace our innate wisdom, and participate in a collective approach to well-being. I cannot wait for you to hear this conversation, so let's dive in. Please welcome Nicole Fey. Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Anna.
Welcome to Good is What Makes You Feel Well.
Thanks for having me.
So for us to start our conversation, I would like to ask you what, in this moment of your life, makes you feel well?
I would say at this moment, my work is making me feel well. Every day when I sit down and I open up my computer and I start to work, I feel fulfilled because it's something that I created myself just from my own ideas and thoughts. It feels very good to be in creative mode.
Oh, yeah. I love that. I really love that. And that is, I think, what everybody's looking for. Right? A work that is fulfilling, that makes you feel well and happy to sit and work. Yes. And we are so fortunate because I don't think that is what happens with the majority of people, right?
Right. I agree.
That is so good. So we'll talk more about your work a little later in the conversation, but I just wanted to know how this concept of wellness and feeling well has evolved throughout your life.
Yeah, that's a good place to start. Well, I was not well as a child. I was like a sickly child, and I had lots of colds and flus and allergies. And I just remember I didn't feel well a lot. And my parents were I mean, they didn't know what they didn't know what they didn't know back then. Now I know I was allergic to the mold in my house, or I
Mm,
was eating gluten, which I was like severely allergic to, but those weren't conversations that were going on back then. So I just was not feeling well. And it went on even into my teenage years and into my early 20s. And I started delving into my health and trying to figure out what the heck was wrong and did I see people around me that looked like they felt good and had plenty of energy, and I didn't have energy. My stomach hurt all the time, and what I didn't know. So yeah, I started exploring. First I went to the conventional route, and it didn't help. I would say, I suffered from constipation, which was a major source of feeling unwell, and I was given laxatives that I got dependent on. And after a couple years, I said, I can't do this. I just don't want to be taking this. And after a while, it wasn't working anyway. You know, you just wake up when you're listening to your own body. And I just had this drive that I would say that was my drive was to feel well. That was it. I just want to wake up and feel good and have lots of energy throughout the day. And so I just kept chipping away and trying to figure it out and talking to people. And, this was in the 80s and 90s. This was a long time ago, and they didn't have as many conversations. Now wherever you go, everybody's talking about their health and why don't you try this and why don't you try that? So it's evolved a lot, and I'm grateful for that, and I hope I'm part of that evolution, that to evolve the conversation towards holistic health and natural healing, and what can I do to empower myself and take care of my own health. That's a big passion of mine.
yeah. Wow. Yeah. So you mentioned that you first went through the traditional route to doctors, and they prescribed you some laxatives, and that is what they do, right? They also don't know better, or they
No,
didn't back
they didn't
then.
know. Yeah.
Yeah. So they never asked you about your diet.
Not once. Nobody asked me what I ate. And I was 21, but I remember it very clearly. Nobody asked me what I ate, and nobody asked me how much water I was drinking. That was not even in the conversation.
Yeah. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, it is.
I keep laughing about those situations. Back then, they didn't know better, and our parents didn't know better neither. So we are just learning together, I guess.
Yeah. And we didn't talk about those things. My parents didn't know I was constipated. I never
Mm.
told them.
Hmm.
That was considered like very private. Probably still is considered very private, but I talk about it a lot because I don't want people to suffer the way I suffered.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Yeah,
there's
of
no need.
course.
There's no need for it when you can, sometimes even it's just a few tweaks and you can get your system going again.
Yeah.
Why suffer?
Hmm. And when was the point that you found your way through? So what was the practice or the thing that you did and you finally, I mean, a book that you read or a person that you talked to? How was your gate to this holistic health?
Well, I would say the first book that opened my eyes was Fit for Health. Wait, Fit for Health? I don't know if that's the right name, but it was about what we call today a mono diet, where
Mm,
you eat fruit for breakfast and then you don't mix your proteins and your carbohydrates, and you don't mix fruit with anything. You don't mix proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, but
mm.
you can eat vegetables with anything. It was very interesting. And that's not the way I eat now, but
Very
that was a
different.
gateway because I started eating like that, and it did help a little bit, where I would just eat one thing at a time because I had such a delicate theory of food combining. And
Okay.
I had such a delicate situation with digestion that actually anything I did like that didn't solve the whole problem. But I remember it helped a little bit. And I thought, okay, it's the food. It was the first time it opened me up. It was my early 20s that the food I was eating was actually causing the problems. So that was like one gateway. And then I remember when I was about 26, I went to see a friend in California. And when I got off the plane, I just burst into tears. And she was like, "What is wrong?" And I said, "I'm just sick. I'm sick all the time. I don't feel well." And she said, "I know what's wrong with you." I was like, "You do?" She said, "Yeah." And she took me, this was in LA in the 90s, she took me to a colon therapist. He really didn't talk to me. It was actually, he wasn't my favorite colon therapist I ever had, but I got a colonic and that opened up my eyes again to my own intestines and what was going on. And, then I started a lot of self-exploration on digestion, elimination, the colon, what's going on there. And I did lots of reading and studying about it. And that was sort of my gateway into everything. It just opened up. I mean, meanwhile, I was running health clubs in New York. So I was gym person. I was fit. I was already really into health and being fit. And it was confusing for me, at a young age. Well, I'm doing that and I'm in a gym and my physique looks good, like I'm in shape, but I don't feel good inside. So I started putting all those pieces together, that there was two things going on. Yes, you could be exercising and get your body fit, but you also had to contend with your digestion. And oh yeah, that's really connected to what I'm eating. And some of the things I'm eating are not good for me. So I just kept going and going and going in that direction. My life just took on this kind of path of exploration of holistic and natural healing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that an interesting journey? Because I think the 80s and the 90s were the age of physical activity. It started with Jane Fonda in the 80s, early 80s, and everybody was kind of in that groove and let's move and do things, because the 70s was just a crazy little awakening, I would say. But then the 80s, everybody was kind of trying to find something to do. And then aerobics came in and lots of different dances and exercises. But the diet was the missing link, right?
It was. And I have a funny story about Jane Fonda. So she was also one of my gateways. She was my gateway into fitness, and fitness was my gateway into health altogether, because I was a very unhealthy teenager and I didn't eat well. I didn't do physical activity. And then in gym, the gym teacher brought out Jane Fonda videos. And she said, "We're just going to do Jane Fonda." And so we were all like, "Okay." And so we started doing, the Jane Fonda stuff. And I liked it. It surprised me. And that's actually what grabbed me into fitness, was Jane Fonda.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah. And she is still so beautiful and so active.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's amazing. And she started the whole movement, I believe.
She was one of the absolute forerunners. Yeah, definitely one of my inspirations.
Okay. So you said you were already working on a gym in New York. So that was your career, or you're doing that as a side hustle type of thing?
For that time period, that was my career. I was a manager of health clubs, and I had a personal training business within that. So I really had two jobs running concurrently. And I was pretty happy doing that for a good long time. But then after a while, I wanted to do something else, and the good thing was I always kept the fitness with me. That has never left me to this day. I go to the gym, I work out. I'm a gym rat at my age, so I feel like it set the foundation for me to always put my health first, so
That's wonderful.
yeah, but it was my career. And then I segued out of that into, I mean, I was one of these people, I was really trying to find myself and find my path. It was not clear to me. I was not a conventional person. I mean, where a lot of people around me were going into finance and into marketing and, into law. And I just didn't feel that pull in those directions. And health was always sitting with me all the time. And that desire to help people get healthy. Like there was always that piece. I went through so much suffering. I don't want people to go through that suffering. I want to help you, you know? So that was like the prevailing feeling inside me, but I wasn't sure how to parlay it into a career. So I moved into different things for a while. I worked for a super green drink and helped him develop the launch for this green drink called Selnique. That was amazing. Then I was in the natural food industry for a few years and flying around the country and introducing this super greens to health food stores. I gave a talk at the Javits Center on super greens and how it helps with your cellular regeneration. So it just kind of unfolded kind of magically and organically that these positions that came to me fit exactly where I was on my health and wellness path. And so, and everything I've done, I'm now using in what I'm doing now in building the East Tennessee Wellness Directory. So, gathering the pieces.
Yeah. Isn't that so incredible how when we are open, the pathway just unfolds, like you said, little by little. And then all of a sudden, we do have a whole pathway ahead of us because we were just open to receive whatever was coming.
Yeah, open. And I've had to learn patience a lot because things didn't come quick. I didn't have things when like in my 20s and 30s, when a lot of people were building their careers and building all this stuff. I was still sort of looking. And it felt weird to me that people were so already entrenched in these career paths. And I just, it's not like I wasn't working, but I wasn't in a career, and things didn't start to really solidify until my 40s. And my mother always used to say to me, it's your generation. Everything starts later for your generation. We're the in-betweeners. 1966 to 68. There was this whole study about how that generation, everything came later, marriage, kids, career, and that you had to be patient. So,
Wow, I have never heard of it.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just those 2 years then?
I think she had 66 to 68. Yeah.
Huh.
Because I used to, lament to her, everybody's doing these things. I'm not doing, because I have a lot of ambition and I have a lot of drive.
Uh-huh.
That piece was always there, but it took a while to kind of coalesce into things, that I considered career worthy. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Finding that way to direct that energy in a way that is fulfilling, right? I had a very similar situation myself. So I had a career that I kind of, went with emotions, not really passionate about it. But when I found this way of directing my drive and my energy to something that is really fulfilling for me, then I could see, oh, that is what was missing. What was missing was this alignment, the passion to really focus my energy in something that really brings more than just a job,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a theory about people that are drawn to holistic health and natural healing is that our main drive is that we want to help others. That's what drives us. And that's not always a clear path to, and this is how you're going to set up your business, and this is how you're going to make money, and this is, it can be a little unconventional, but the drive is there nonetheless, and you can't really get rid of it. And sometimes it gets real loud. And that's why I'm so supportive practitioners and businesses on my directory is because I don't want them to give up and I want them to feel inside that they are on the right path. Again, I don't want them to go through what I went through, which was like a lot of uncertainty and maybe disillusionment, it's like, no, you can do this. This is a drive within you. Let's build this,
Mm-hmm.
So it's really a piece of wanting to have this directory and showcase people and help them empower themselves. And I think a lot of people are in that position or they're in other jobs, but would like to hop over to something that's more fulfilling full time. But there's not always a lot of support for that because bills have to be paid, kids have to be taken care of. So that's not an easy path.
Yeah, and what you said is absolutely right. Things just take time. There is not a fast lane for us, at least. Takes time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the whole process of aligning ourselves with this drive is part of the journey, especially for people that have had other career paths and used to get money and other rewards from the job. This transition is not something really easy to do. So there is a lot of processing and a lot of accepting and a lot of internal work that needs to happen for
Mm-hmm.
us to really embody this new way of being, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And your support system, of which some people have none, becomes extremely important. And that's why building this community, what I'm finding, I have these monthly meet and greets, the same people come. And I think it feels refreshing to have this supportive community around you that is truly interested in what you do and understands your wonky path and, understands that you're not conventional or might be a little eccentric, or not that everybody is, because they're not, but it's okay if you are. Like, bring it. It's fine. It's been refreshing for our community to have that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I couldn't agree more. That feeling of belonging in the community where they are going through the same things, it is so, so important. And it gives a boost of motivation for sure. So tell me how you had the idea of building the East Tennessee Wellness Directory and how it came to fruition for you.
Well, it was an idea from way back, again, in New York City in the 90s. I myself joined a natural healing directory. It was called New York Naturally. And I had just become a Reiki practitioner and a feng shui practitioner. And after you get those certifications, all you want to do is work with clients. I mean, you don't even care about the money as much. I worked full time something else. So I just wanted clients. I just wanted to do what I had learned and practice what I learned and get better at it. And so, then I saw at the kiosk in front of Barnes and Noble. I don't even know if that Barnes and Noble is still there. It was a huge Barnes and Noble in Lincoln Center area around 60th Street. They had a kiosk and they had this New York Naturally, and I picked it up and I was like, I don't know. And oh my gosh, there's so many people in here already, and who's going to pick me? And it took me probably a year before I even put my ad in. It's ridiculous. I should have just done it. So I overthinking. I put an ad in, immediately I started getting calls. And I thought, this is so cool. And I was able to like do a little blurb and kind of bring myself into what I do, with my own voice. It just stuck in my head that what a great idea that is. And so years later, I moved to Knoxville. I'm raising my child, was trying different things. And again, still trying to find my path. I was a holistic health coach, but this idea came knocking, like, why don't you just start a directory? It'll be the East Tennessee Wellness Directory. It was like an idea that just comes through. And I said, okay, I'm going to do it. I did. I started it up. Like I said, it was got my creative juices flowing. And I started to realize all of the things I had done. I have like this resume of holistic healing modalities that I've either gotten certified in or become proficient in, or at least was interested in, did a fair amount of research in, or I've gone to other practitioners. I spent my whole life doing that. And so I realized, wow, I'm a really good resource for all these different modalities. And so when I started to put it together and I realized how many categories, I call them my categories, that you can put holistic healing and natural healing under, it just grows and grows. It's your children, your sustainable living, your house, your land, your, relationships, your pets. I love organizing. I'm an organizer. And so organizing it all into something that's understandable and accessible and maybe even fun to look at was also really enjoyable for me. So I think what we have is just, it's a directory, but it's also an educational tool. So it's a directory for people to put their listings on there, but it's the tool for the public to say, it could be something that most people know about, like a massage therapist or an acupuncturist or a chiropractor. Those are the things people already, that's pretty integrated into our lives, into our societies. But then there's other things that they don't know about, very interesting things, different, somatic healing, working with trauma in different ways, working with your psyche through your eyes and through your, the placement of things in your home through feng shui, and how does that affect your energy? Because a lot of people have an idea of what's wrong with them. Oh, my energy's low, or my hormonal balance is off. My doctor told me my hormones are off, or I know my circulation isn't great because my ankles are puffy, or, so they have an idea of what's wrong, but they don't necessarily know all the modalities out there that might be the right one to really help them. And so this is a little bit like educational. When you click on explore services, it brings up this whole list. And if you just start clicking around, it's very interesting. I mean, I was in a bad way about 6 months ago. Again, things had started up again with the digestion problems. And now I realize, talking to an herbalist who you had on your show, she said, oh, everybody going through menopause has these types of problems. And so it just, from talking to her, it sort of was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. But things weren't flowing and I felt very stagnant. And I had a session with the Heart Song, and they did acutonics on me and polarity. Now, I probably heard of both of those things somewhere, but I didn't really know what they were. And they did a whole session on me, and I have felt so much better since that one session. And that was something I didn't even really think to try. So that's just one example.
Yeah, there are so many different modalities that help move the energy. So many other things. Yeah, like you said, yeah, you are in this much longer than I am, but even now that we are in this realm of wellness, there are always some new things. It is interesting to have a hub where you can just look at different modalities and find whatever resonates for you to try. And I think what is really important is for us to be curious and open to try different things, because we never know what can help us, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Or we know, but we don't know where to find them.
Maybe, yes.
Their directory. Okay. I need a health coach. Oh, look, here's 10 health coaches. Oh, look, here's 2 right in my area.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's helpful,
Yeah.
That's the point of the directory.
It is. More than that, I think what you said at the very beginning is really, really important. It's the power of community, the power of us working together, one supporting each other and rising as a whole, right? Mm-hmm. I think that is so, so powerful. And the feeling of belonging that I felt when I first started my health coach training program is the feeling of belonging I feel in the East Tennessee Wellness Director community. So it is important for us to have those communities and to be part. I met wonderful people already through the meets and greets you promote every month. And they are wonderful. And how wonderful it is to experience something new, like the Muvu dance that we did last time. That was incredible.
It was.
And, we keep just learning those new practices and the new things and new people. They're so interesting. Like Ruth, with the herbalism and her apothecary. And, you know, there is always somebody new bringing something for us to experience. And that is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you're doing an amazing job just bringing us together and helping us all succeed. And that is what we need, one supporting each other and promoting each other.
When people set up their profiles, you have like a profile page, it sort of guides you in this way to upload your path. It's interesting because it'll say, okay, the menu, upload your services. A lot of people in the holistic healing and natural healing field do like 3 or 4 or 5 different things.
Mhm.
They don't just do one thing. You know, they might be a health coach, a yoga instructor, a massage therapist, you know. And so you can put each of your services and it displays it very nicely with a nice explanation. And then it has an events link. So you click events and post all your events. Then it has a blog. Okay, I've written articles or I want to write an article and let people know about acupuncture for fertility or something like that, you know. Okay, so now you upload an article and it goes to the main blog. So then that is for the public. They click on the blog and they can read about actual articles that the practitioners have written. It's not just like generated content, you know, it's actual from this person, what they're doing and the experience they've had with this modality. It has a link for videos. So a lot of people now do reels. So you can upload your reels if you've been interviewed on the news, which actually is pretty easy in Knoxville, Tennessee to get on the news. I've been interviewed a bunch of times. You know, you could put up your interviews. So it sort of leads you. There's a link for reviews. You send that link to people who have worked with you and they can write a review for you. And so it's right there on your profile page. I've worked with Anna. She's amazing, you know, and setting up your profile page itself, I have found if you really sit with it and get into it, you know, it asks for your certifications. You can upload those. It asks for your bio. Once you get it all there you are in one space. I've been doing this for 40 years, and here it is all encapsulated in this one page that expresses who I am, how I can help you. Here are my certifications to show, you know, what I've done, or my licenses. Some people are licensed. So I just wanted to share that. I want people to feel like a little bit coddled. All right, I can do this, because people get overwhelmed with the tech. And who needs it? We're all putting in passwords how many times a day?
Oh my gosh.
It's
Yeah.
so obnoxious. Like, I can't even believe my life has devolved to like putting in my password every 5 minutes for everything. So,
So true.
you know, I have not had one person tell me I can't figure out how to get my profile up. And to me, that is like a check mark for success. Great. All I have to say is click on add your listing, and it comes up with 3 different types. You can read the different features of each. Okay, I want that one. You know, a form pops up, you fill it out. If you don't have time, you could just fill it out a little and then go back later and finish. So that was part of what I was trying to do, was just to make life a little bit easier and not harder for everybody.
Yeah, no, you did such a good job. So now let me ask you this. You said you took many different certifications and trainings and all that. So are you still practicing any of those things?
Well, I practice for myself. I'm a certified Kundalini yoga instructor, and I do my practice, certified feng shui practitioner. We were just talking about feng shui this morning. And so, yeah, I practice my feng shui constantly within my space where I live and work. And that's just a big part of who I am. Health coaching more with my family now. I'm not working with clients. I'm really focused on the directory. So, yes, I practice everything, but not so much with putting it out to the public. I'm not hanging that shingle right now. Right now, I'm saying I'm running the East Tennessee Wellness Director. I want to uplift my East Tennessee wellness community. I want to organize events. and meetups and kind of be I'm more stepping into maybe a supportive and mentorship role at this point, which
Yeah.
it feels like a good fit for me right now.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And you mentioned gluten and how you felt as a child and all the way into your late 20s with your constipation and all that. So, what did you find out about gluten and how you live your life now with this condition?
Well, I never had celiac. I was gluten sensitive, wheat intolerant. I mean, there's different names for it. So I've been completely gluten free for 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I never cheat because I know what happens when I have some gluten. I don't feel good. And the main thing that happens is I fall asleep and I almost pass out. I'll be
Wow.
like, if I eat some by accident, that's happened a handful of times over the years, I'll just conk out right where I am. And then when I wake up, I'm okay. It's really weird. And if I eat it over and over, I will have lots of stomach problems and digestive problems and everything. But what I've studied a great deal about gluten intolerance, celiac, all of it. And there's a huge spectrum and it affects people in all different ways. You cannot even pretend to know how it might affect somebody. It could affect their mood, their mind, their capacity to even think clearly. It could make them gain weight, it could make them have constipation, it can make him have diarrhea. I mean, it's just so many different things. I would say, in a nutshell, if you read the book Wheat Belly, you will get a good snapshot of what happened to our wheat and to our bread. And it's very sad
It
because
is.
I like bread just like everybody else. Everybody's like, oh, it's so you don't like pizza. I'm like, no, it's not that I don't like pizza.
I do like it. It doesn't like me back.
Exactly, exactly. But and thank goodness, it's so funny that one of my passions is gluten free. So I made a category called gluten free Tennessee. And there's other gluten free like Facebook pages. There's a lot of them. But I said I have to have this on my directory because I want people to know that when they come into East Tennessee, I want to find a restaurant, I want to find a bakery, I want to find what I want when I'm traveling and be able to eat where I want to eat. So I have on there restaurants that have gluten-free menus or even, on their menu that
Mhm.
says we can offer gluten-free buns for your hamburger. And I have a disclaimer on the top. This is not saying that these are gluten-free facilities at all. You have to still do your due diligence. What I'm saying is they have offerings. Same with the bakeries that offer gluten-free cakes or pies or muffins. I want to get that word out. So that's just like a side passion of mine is to do that for people, have, foods that they can eat. But it's
Yeah.
getting bigger and bigger. I mean, now every restaurant almost, even here in Knoxville, you could say they're a little bit behind. They're all the restaurants are starting to offer gluten-free. So it's really
Yeah.
opening up.
We are paving this way for other people. Absolutely. And I do have a suggestion for you. That is a place in Maryville. It's a cafe. Everything that they do is gluten free. And it's a lovely, charming old house cafe. And they do brunches. Now they're doing it even during the week and on Sundays.
And what is it? What is the
Southern Grace Cafe.
Okay.
Do you know them?
I think I actually just brought that up in a search and I was like, I'm gonna call them or go there. I was gonna
Yeah.
go and just have a meal. And I'm like, you should really be on the directory.
It's really nice. And a friend of mine did a similar thing that you did with the directory. She created Vegan Blonde County because she is vegan and she wanted to create a place that people could go and find restaurants and options, like the same thing you did with the gluten. So
Yeah.
she did that for the vegan
Yeah.
community resources for us to
Yes,
try
exactly.
different things to feel
Mhm.
better.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, so good. Such a lovely conversation, Nicole. Is there anything you would like to mention that I did not ask you?
Well, I'll just say that it's great to just check out the directory and explore what's on there for people that are looking for holistic practitioners. I would go to Explore Services, and then you can click on the different categories. I have a category on there, holistic birthing and pregnancy, because that's a big passion of mine. I had my daughter an all natural birth, and it's just an important thing to me, just I guess ideologically, like no judgment, but I think if people want to go that route, I want to make sure they have information to midwives and doulas and lactation specialists and placenta encapsulation and, all the things that go with it so they can feel, safe. I mean, when I got pregnant, I remember I felt a little scared because knowing what I know, I wanted to do everything naturally. And right away, I went into a little bit like worry mode. Like, am I going to find the support I need? And I never really looked into having a midwife. And what if I can't find one? And, it sort of went that direction. And I did end up finding everything I needed. This was in New Jersey where I had my daughter. It wasn't here. And it all went well. But there was that moment of uncertainty. And then I have a category for holistic kids because I feel like that also, you want to raise your kids maybe with homeschool. That to me, and I have homeschool and forest schools on here because raising your kids, to be in nature, that to me is a part of holistic health.
Absolutely.
Like I said, your mind goes like down a lot of different pathways, but yeah, my kids should be out in nature. Yeah, that's important to me. And they should have access to healthy meals while they're, at school. So yeah, I just think it's an exploratory adventure to see. The other thing is we have a marketplace. And so a lot of holistic practitioners offer natural products, and this is a good place to put your products. So you can check out the marketplace. The directory, it's etwellnessdirectory.com. And I just would love to share it with everyone. And very grateful for this path. I'm really grateful for people like you who came on the directory and your big surprise with your book. And I said, oh my gosh, that was a passion of mine with your book about the freshman 15, and that I wanted to get the word out because I gained 15 pounds when I went to college. And it was terrible. I had to try and get that weight off. And, I was not in my regular routine when I went to college. I was doing my Jane Fonda in front of the TV. And, I had a whole routine I had worked up. And then I came to college and I didn't transition very well. I was not eating well. I was not exercising. I gained that 15 pounds. It took me a couple years to get it off. So I was very excited about your book and about helping to promote it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's a real problem. And I think, like you said, if you want to make real changes, we need to educate our kids differently. We need to teach them, like you said, and like I went through this, and probably everybody in our generation went through this because our parents, unfortunately, they didn't know better, so they couldn't help us. But now that we do, so we can help our kids to thrive since the very beginning. They don't need to suffer as much as we did because we have all this knowledge to share. So we can raise them differently. So we can offer them forest schools or homeschool or a different diet, a more holistic approach. We can give birth in a different way. We can do so many different things because we do have all this knowledge. I'm very passionate about this. Education is the way we can change the future generations. So I really love this subject.
Yeah. And I'm raising a teenager and she's not into any of this, but it doesn't matter because I know I'm planting the seeds and it will all come around. She's going to go through the same thing I went through where you hit your 20s. And it's hard if you don't have that knowledge. It's hard to keep yourself healthy if you're just What I try and tell her is the world is not set up to keep you healthy.
Mm-hmm.
That's on you.
Mm-hmm.
So do not rely on the schools or the airlines or, your workplace cafeteria. You have to take it into your own hands, live a little bit on the defensive, setting yourself up for I'm traveling. How am I going to stay healthy while I'm traveling? I'm not going to be with my own refrigerator and my own health food store. So I have on the directory health food stores because
Hmm.
whenever I traveled, the first thing I would do to orient myself was to go to a health food store. And it was, yeah, you could Google it and find a health food store. But then I'd find out a long time later, oh, there were other health food stores I didn't even hear about. And they weren't like the mainstream ones. They were smaller ones, like local ones. And I may have wanted to go to that. So I don't want to just promote big, huge conglomerate multinationals. I mean, okay, if you're a health food store, that's fine. You can be on here. People need your food. But I also want to support those local people who are trying to support their local people in eating healthy. And a lot of them are farmers or have connections to their local farmers. So I want to make sure that when people are traveling to our area, they can find their health food store and orient themselves like I used to. I used to go there and make sure I had my healthy food and my gluten-free food so that I could have a good vacation and not off my routine, and not feel good for the whole vacation. It's just, who needs that?
Yeah.
So that was another piece to it, that yeah, you have to take this into your own hands and your health into your own hands.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's so lovely. You provide all that in the directory as well. Yeah. For practitioners, you can have them be part of the community. And then for the users, for them to research for resources and information, education with the blog, and information on all the different categories of holistic practices available there.
Yeah, and depending on which plan you pick, you can have more categories. So there's a free plan. So anybody who not sure or I want, that's fine. You can sign for a free plan. It will show your name, it will show your logo, it will show your website. If you do a paid plan, which is only $99 a year, it's not a big expense, you'll get more promotion out of it so that you're on social media. So there's just more involved. And then there's another tier as well. You can check that out. You go to add your listing. But I really feel like there's something for everyone, and kind of like no reason why you wouldn't, because don't you want all the people in East Tennessee are coming to East Tennessee to know that you exist? You know, yeah, you can see the different features and join accordingly. And then we have these monthly meet and greets. We have one coming up. So I always try and pull people in like, hey, can you do a meditation? Can you do a sound healing? And it always works out very nicely. December 6th, we're going to be in Chattanooga at the Plant Bar, which is a very awesome space. And just even to be there is kind of thrilling. You have to check that out. But on December 6th, we'll have a meet and greet in Chattanooga. So if you're even curious about the directory or the people, the community, you can come to those and meet people and just have a couple hours of time and networking and that sort of thing. So
yeah, and you have all the meets and greets in the directory as well.
under the events, we also have a winter solstice celebration. So I said December 6th, we have Chattanooga. December 21st in Knoxville, we're having a winter solstice celebration at Lotus Light Contemplative Community Center, which is our Buddhist center here. It's a beautiful building. So I love having these meet and greets in different venues. We have so many special places. We had at Erin's Meadow Herb Farm last month, and people were just blown away what Kathy has set up there. So that's part of it too, is these, some people have a brick and mortar. Let's all meet there. So people can see what you've built,
Absolutely.
So part of it too. Yeah. Yeah, we're an incredible group. There's just when we're together, we're all like, we're so incredible. Like, this is so amazing.
It is so
It's
amazing.
such a good vibe, I
It
think
is.
we all feed each other that feeling of this is special. This is really special.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for what's coming for us. I'm excited to be part of the group, and it's just a lovely community, like you said.
Yeah.
Let's be patient and wait for what's to come, right?
Yep. We have
Yeah,
to be patient.
perfect. So
Yeah.
I will have all the links in the show notes, Nicole, for the directory, and so people can find it easily and check it out.
Okay, great. Yeah,
And
it's a separate link for the event, so people can just click on that and see, because it's the meet and greets, but it's also local events that the practitioners, because when you load it on your back end, it goes to the events page, which is nice. So somebody who lives here or somebody who's visiting can have local events going on, from yoga to meditation to Movo dance.
yeah,
Yeah.
lovely.
And we send out a monthly newsletter, which highlights new practitioners that come on, new articles that were written, upcoming events. There's a subscribe button right in the upper right-hand corner. You can at least subscribe and start getting the monthly news and sort of feel into the community.
Yeah. And the events, I highly recommend going and feeling the vibe, because I think it's really special. Like you said, it's a very special group of people.
We started doing potlucks for the ones in Knoxville. They're a little longer. When they're shorter, I don't do a potluck, but the ones in Knoxville, we've had all potlucks, and people bring the most amazing food. And we're all like, can't believe how wonderful it is to have a whole table of food that you could pretty much eat, whether you're gluten-free, vegan, watching that, you're not eating sugar, or watching that you're not eating, artificial colors, or whatever it is. There's a lot of different dishes for you, and that feels nourishing too. I mean, how many times have you gone to parties and you're like, oh, I can't have that. I can't have that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's been a kind of cool part of it too, the eating.
It is. It is. Yeah, lovely. All right. So thank you so, so much. I think it was a delightful conversation.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. Very relaxed and nurturing. Loved it. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you guys so much for listening. It means a lot to me that you chose to be here. To help Mama Terra's mission of making the world a disease-free place for generations to come, you can follow the show, write a review, or talk to your friends about it. You can also subscribe to my newsletter. Every week, I craft good health and wellness tips, recipes, and book recommendations with love and care, just for you. My intention is to give you information and resources to help you make good choices and feel well. Find the link to subscribe in the show notes. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you again for being here. We have lots of new episodes coming up, so stay tuned. And remember, good is what makes you feel well.
Transcende, levita, toma banho de cachoeira, abraça uma pessoa amiga, corre na chuva, escala